Wholeness, welcome to Notes of Nara. My name is Naja Rashida, and today we're going to discuss self-love, the inner child, loving the unloved parts of the Wounded Child Archetype. Okay, I am currently studying this right now, but I just thought that, this would be an interesting topic. Loving the unloved parts of ourselves. It's kind of hard to do. Kind of hard to face sometimes. It's about, I think, self-honesty, being honest with yourself. And I feel like being honest with yourself and how you truly feel about yourself frees you. It liberates you. It allows you to then say, okay, what now? What can I do with this self-hatred? What can I do with disliking this attribute about myself, or this thing that makes me feel bad about myself? We all have things that we need or want to improve, and we all have things that we disapprove of about ourselves. But if anything about self-love, it ties into being honest. Being honest takes awareness. Being aware leads to more honesty. And when you have this beautiful dance of self-awareness and honesty, or self-honesty, self-awareness, self-honesty, self-awareness, then it creates this beautiful dance, this little beautiful tango of momentum that pushes you to commit and act, right? To create a new behavior that will invoke self-love in you. And that takes, it just takes it may take time. I find sometimes it may take you getting so tired, or you're just tired of being sick and tired, You're tired of just holding on to the wounds, holding on to the hurt, holding on to the, man, I wish I could have had this conversation with them. Why didn't I deal with this problem with them when they were alive? Or why didn't I resolve this issue with them? It's truly about the choices that you make to set yourself free, to liberate yourself from your own wounded inner child, the narrative of the inner child. Ask your inner child questions. There's an activity where you can, when you're connecting to your archetypes in Caroline Miss's book, Sacred Contracts, you write with your left hand, because the left hand is very deeply connected to the subconscious mind. So you write out the question with your left hand, and then with your right hand, and then you respond with the left hand, and that activates these hidden archetypes within you that are waiting to have a space to voice themselves, to express hidden truths about yourself. Oftentimes, people, though, I notice, that are wounded the most are unaware of how wounded they are. I'm fine. I'm good. I've forgiven. I'm great. But then they're miserable. They're stuck. I remember in my 20s, I really was clashing with my parents. In my 20s, it was like I was trying to chase down my mom to see if she could ever be the emotional, stability that, all mothers, I think, have the capability of doing and being. And then with my dad, I remember some conversations will get so heated because I'm like, why can't you see a way out of your own mess? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Like, I was nitpicking their character, breaking it down. Because I have this unique talent of, especially if I know you very well, I have this unique ability to pinpoint your problems and then come up with a solution for them. I don't know why. It's a very unique thing I have. I love giving advice when asked. Okay. And I don't need to hunt anyone down to give advice. They usually just come to me in very unique ways in my life. But yeah, it's a unique gift I have, and so I know the weaknesses and strengths of my parents very, very well enough anyway, to where, if I feel pinned up against the corner and there's a conflict going on, I know exactly what to say, and I don't have to raise my voice to say it. To get my drift. So I don't weaponize that gift. I'm learning in my 30s because I've humanized my parents, right? When I was a little girl, when we're children, we put them on pedestals. And then when they fail, they take a L in life and we see it. And then we're getting older, then we see the hypocrisy, right? And then we kind of knock them off. They're not on the pedestal anymore. Now we look down on them. We say, I don't need you anymore, and you leave home. You don't call them as often as you should. You don't visit with them as often as you should. They're not as important. And a lot of the time, we try to find our perfect family, the version of our perfect family, by seeking out a new lover who seems like they come from a stable family that we never had. I remember my dad opened up about that with my own mom. He was like, yeah, your mom seemed like he was running in her direction because it seemed on the outside stable and loving and supportive. We run away from the very people, from the very thing that could, give us the answers that we seek, and to put a lot of things at rest. But I think it's just part of the whole process of, of evolving and living and learning about ourselves and healing ourselves. But yeah, I mean, we've all done that. You know what I'm saying? But now in my 30s, I've humanized them. I have compassion for them. I don't excuse. No, I don't minimize what's been done in the past, but I humanize them. I see their inner child. You know how I can see inner child? Because I've seen my inner child. I've given her a voice. I went so far as to I drew a whole art piece, like a self-portrait of myself as an inner child. I drew all my wounds out. I really did. That was back in 2016, 2017. Between that year, I used a lot of color in my artwork. Oil pastels, pencils, glitter, anything colorful. Because my inner child, she's very colorful. She loves color. And, and so, yeah, I drew a portrait of myself that was wounded, deeply wounded. After she revealed herself to me through a vision I had. I was riding my bike one day on a very hot Arizona day, 105 degrees outside. I was riding my guitar in a hard case, didn't have a car or anything. I lived out in the suburbs in Chandler, Arizona, and the sun was like blast. Oh God, that sun, wow, it was powerful. But anyway, I had a vision. I had a vision of my inner child coming through, like my womb, like the vulva, right? TMI, but that's okay. We're all adults here. And so it was very fascinating. And she was there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. And so I began to draw and what came through was incredibly healing. And I hung it up in my room and I stared at it and I connected with it. And it was almost like, that awareness and recognition of what is wounded in us can liberate us. And that's so important. When you're honest with yourself. And that thing is, are you willing, when you become honest about yourself, with yourself, are you willing to make changes? It's your choice. You know? I often find when I speak to married people, people who have committed themselves to a partner, a lifetime partner, whether it's like, it's on paper or no, but, I find that, especially with I see this more in my in female counterparts than I do with male. But I find oftentimes women will begin to outgrow their male partner. And there's a very important moment where choices have to be made. Like, love is a choice. You have to choose to love. Right? So the woman will choose to continue to grow and evolve. And then her partner notices this shift. Either he chooses to evolve and grow within himself, because in order to remain with her, he's got to choose to evolve within himself as well. He can't just say, oh no, you're growing, I don't choose to grow though, but I'm going to attach myself to you. Because you know what happens, she's the the growth spurt that she's going through, he won't be able. It's almost like Jack and the Beanstalk, right? A beanstalk just shoots right on up into the sky. That's what I'm seeing right now. And it's like she's the beanstalk, and if he's unwilling to grow within himself, he's going to get bumped right on off of the stalk and fall to the abyss, into a divorce or breakup, right? So I find often that women are actually very powerful leaders when it comes to a partnership and moving and evolving. And I'm not saying men don't have that, like they don't, evolve first in a relationship, but I've noticed the conversations that I've had in my life where women are like, man, I just can't get him to understand her. He just seems so stuck where he is. And I'm like, you have to choose and he has to choose. And then both of you have to choose. You have to choose to grow within yourself and to evolve. He has to choose to evolve. And then you both have to choose to evolve together, because there's nothing wrong with coming to the conclusion that if both of you choose to evolve individually, that can split the relationship up and you go your separate ways. That to me happens in life. It just does. I don't necessarily believe in the forever endeavor with one person forever and a day. I believe that you are actively choosing to be with somebody because you actively choose to love yourself every day. You then actively choose to love someone to share that love with somebody, and then, vice versa. So, yes, I find, being honest about the self, being aware about the self can liberate and set you free. And the unloved parts within us are just old bones forgotten in the closet that need to be buried. And there are many different ways to bury, right? When someone transitions out of their vessel, when they die, right? The death, they enter into another space, their consciousness expands beyond the vessel. Like this week, we'll be burying my aunt. And so, there are different methods. You don't necessarily have to bury someone. You can cremate them, You know, there are different ways to honor the memory of someone. It's very ritualistic. If anything, if you feel called, if you know that you have some old skeletons in your closet, the best thing you could do is begin to organize all those bones. Right? Oh, this is the old trauma. Oh, this is the abandonment. Oh, this is the betrayal bones. That skeleton there. And you can put them in their, you know, specific coffins, if you will, and bury them. Set them free. I mean, I've heard things of people burying, cremation, and then like a water, you know, where you just let the body go off into the water and the remains are then, you know, the circle of life. The remains are eaten. A watery grave is what they like to call it. But, you know, it's to put something at rest, I think, when dealing with the wounded child archetype. So that's that. I just, you know, wanted to share that with you. I think my hair's dry now. Ooh, goodness. Love to you all, truly. And thank you so much for being here. You know, like I said, with all humbleness, I'm just trying to figure it out just like you. And, but I'm very grateful I have this platform to share these thoughts and these different insights on things. Take care.